Hey, what's up, Team Wilpers Cycling Challenge? This is week 4 of our training block. This is the briefing, so sit back and soak up the information. Here we go. First of all, hopefully everybody is okay. If there's anybody in Florida and during the hurricane or anywhere in the world really with a bad weather or natural disaster, obviously we hope that that you're staying safe, and please be safe about training and playing outdoors when Mother Nature says no, it's not safe to go out there. So that could be smoke or rain, or just be careful, okay? Here in Vermont, it's been a really rainy summer, and that means mosquitoes. So if you're here, ride fast, because you can do that and stay away from them, and otherwise it's kind of prohibitive to be outside with the mosquitoes. So hope everybody had a good last weekend. I think I told you I was gonna go race my bike. Vermont Overland was Saturday, and I feel like it went pretty well. It took me 4 hours and 12 minutes to ride 56 miles. And my computer, my Wahoo computer, said it was 70. See, it's still dirty. Said I did 7,600 feet of elevation. Now, the literature of the race said that it was only going to be 7,000 feet. So when my computer said 7,000, I thought we were going downhill the rest of the way, but that was not quite the case. I still had 600 feet to climb. My legs were not so happy about that. So I still finished fine. And what's cool about these things is that no matter what, and even after I've done hundreds of bike races, but I still learn something from every race, every event, from a simple what worked, what didn't. What worked for me that weekend: nutrition, mountain bike skill. Okay, this race was not your typical gravel race with manicured gravel. There was lots of Jeep roads, and as I mentioned, it's been raining, so they're all washed out. It's a lot of technical skill involved in riding away from the other riders. So that was my past skills came in handy on those section. And nutrition, I ate as much as I could. I mean, I grabbed, I didn't stop at the aid stations because I kind of shut my mouth off about not stopping, so I couldn't. And, but I was able to grab one of the sponsors is Untapped maple syrup packets, and grabbed 1 or 2 of those at each of the aid station to add to the several hundred calories that was in my back pocket. So, interesting note, I think if I add it all up, I had about 1,400 calories in 4 hours and 12 minutes. So with a drink and the gels and a Cliff Bar, I'm pretty sure I ate about 1,400 calories while I was doing that race, and that seemed to be all right. What needs improvement or what could stand improving is my pacing. There were some times where I exerted a lot of energy and probably shouldn't have done so. I was not being smart and should have thought about the bigger picture and didn't need to push so hard to grab onto a wheel that was going by me when I would have caught on no problem. So anyway, getting into the tactical side of racing, but also I would have liked a little bit more confidence, and I would have gotten that from more consistent training with the month leading up to it. Now, my family was on vacation, and I was at the World Championships in Scotland, not racing, but if I had that week, I think, to train, and a consistent month or so, 6 weeks leading up to it, I would have felt more confident and maybe would have raced more aggressively, maybe even lined up more aggressively. Out of 1,000 people, you need to get a good starting position. So anyway, that's me. That's me. That's the level I'm at, and we're all at different levels, but it's all the same thing. You can learn something from every event. So I'm pretty motivated to do this race again. Now that I know the terrain, I know the climbing, I know the technical sections, the mountain bike sections, and I'm gonna see if I can move up in the results a little bit next year. At least that's what I'm saying right now. We'll see if it actually happens. It's funny, Haribo Gummy bears was a topic of conversation in a group of 4 or 5 guys. Like all of a sudden, somebody looked back at me in a group during this race and said, "Hey, how do you guys say He said, "How do you say Haribo, the gummy bears?" And I said Haribo. I thought it was Haribo. So post up if you know how to say it. Speaking of motivation, like I'm motivated to go back, but speaking of motivation, goals and motivation, right? That was the thing for last week, this week, and we had intrinsic motivators and extrinsic motivators. So awesome posts. So hopefully you guys got in there and posted up, and there were some awesome things. And if you didn't post, hopefully you wrote them down yourself, because it's important. What are we doing? And that's the goals section that we did first. And why are we doing it? That's the motivation. What is your motivation? And some of them that stuck out, I'll just mention a few, are mental toughness, PTSD from working through COVID on the front lines. Thank you to all you healthcare workers. Long-term health. We're getting older. We're all getting older. Some of us more than others. And trying to keep our health for a long time, right? This is a very good vehicle to do that. Specific conditions. So what about you're trying to get pregnant, you've just had a baby, you've got a family, you're maybe cancer survivors out there, maybe you're in cancer treatment. I think I've mentioned before, my son and my wife have been through cancer treatments, and so being a caregiver, a primary caregiver, my dad before he died. So all of those kind of resonated with me, and thank you for posting those up. And we all have our own situations, but what is your motivation? If you haven't done it already, post it up or write it out. Events and races are big motivators, as I just illustrated. If you're not at that level, you're still on your Peloton, that's awesome. Stay right here with me and you get structure year round if I can swing it, and you can rest assured that you'll be training smart. So maybe that's the motivation right there. Let's talk about this week. This week. That was this week. You guys are confusing me. All right. Next week, week 4 is recovery week. Okay, we've done 3 progressively harder weeks. We put all these rides together in a combination, and the weeks have been progressively harder. Next week, it's time to pull it back a little bit. It's time to let all of that hard work sink in and let the adaptations happen. So, coming week's workouts. Can I talk about the workouts? Monday is a PZE. They're all PZEs. Monday is a PZE with 8, 7, 5, 5-minute zone 3s. Now, if you're following the timers, I called for 80% and 70% to recover. So 80% zone 3s, 70% to recover. And if you can read between the lines, it averages out to 75%. My favorite intensity. So Wednesday is a similar ride, another PZE. Calls for 3, 4, 5, 4, 3-minute zone 3 intervals. Again, 80% for the zone 3 intervals. This is a recovery week. You don't have to go crazy. You could go all the way up to 86, 87% of your FTP in a PZE or in zone 3, but let's just keep it under control. This is recovery week. This is not time to break records. This is time to just spin your legs and let all that hard work that you've done this week kick in. Thursday next week, 4 minutes at zone 2 high cadence and 3 minutes at zone 2 regular cadence, your happy cadence that we talked about before. I called the fast cadence 72% and the regular happy cadence intervals at 70%. Hopefully that makes sense. Basically, it's a straight across with fast pedals and slow pedals, fast pedals and slow pedals, or regular pedals. Okay. Saturday, we're doing 8, 7, 6, 5, 5-minute zone 3 intervals with zone 2s in the middle. But again, I called 80% for those zone 3 intervals. Okay, we're not trying to get too far out of zone 2. 80% is the lower end of zone 3, so it should be nice and easy. Recover at 70%, a little bit higher up in zone 2, and it averages out for 75%. Sunday is, this is my ride. It calls for all zone 2. I like the limit of zone 2, zone 3, right at 75%. There's a longer interval. Hopefully the timers are done correctly if you're using the timers. If you're just going by the classes, watch the classes, listen to the instructors. You are in good hands, but keep the intensity low, okay? This week is your recovery week. You're not trying to break records. You're not trying to ride the top of your zones. You're trying to let your adaptations happen while spinning your legs, staying fresh. Okay, weekly TSS, like we've talked about before, the training stress score, if you do all 5 rides, is 179, compared to last week was 296. If you follow the classes, and then if you do my timers, you're going to be at 195, down from 280, okay? So quite a big difference from the week before. So what do we do in recovery week? Do we go out and do yard work and do chores and waste energy otherwise? No. We need to sleep, not only volume but quality. You need quality sleep. That's your goal this week, is to get good sleep, get rested, get recovered. How about stress? Keep stress under control. And how do you tell? Well, there's a number of ways, and I didn't write anything down here except for the word stress. Keep stress under control if you can. Think ahead. Think about your schedule. Get good sleep. Take care of yourself, all right? Nothing can bother you. You are in recovery week. It's good. Nutrition, you want to go clean, and I'm just really, really touching lightly on nutrition in this whole challenge, but maybe in the next challenge we can get a little deeper into it, or on the Facebook group if you have specific questions. But eat clean, make good choices. Come on, processed foods, sugar, you got to stay away from that stuff. Eat fruits, vegetables. Think of putting nutrient dense foods in your meals and in your body so that you can make the adaptations you're trying to. Hydration is another one. I forget about it all the time, but ideally, this is 32 ounces. 3 of these in a day is a good place to start. Let your body get the fluid that it needs and stay hydrated, and it can make the adaptations you're looking to do. Absolutely nap time next week. Thank you. So how do you measure? How do you know if you're doing recovery or not? Well, there's a number of ways, including subjective and objective ways to tell. So what about the subjective? Just real easy. How do I feel? Every time you wake up next week, every morning you wake up next week or after nap time, ask yourself, how do I feel? And you could do like a self-check. Are your legs sore? Are you extra tired? Are you got some things hurting? Well, good. You're in recovery week. It's time to let those things heal up and make it so that you're not sore. What about the people around you, like your spouse? My wife will always be the first to tell me, "Hey, you need to chill. You're training too hard. You're a jerk." So, good indication. Thank you, and I will cut it back a little bit. It's time to recover. What about an objective measures? And there are more than this, but heart rate. You could look at your resting heart rate, and if you look at your resting heart rate first thing when you wake up. If it's elevated compared to the prior weeks, then you're probably not doing a good job, and you need to get a little bit extra sleep. You need to calm down. HRV. Do you all know about HRV and heart rate variability? Heart rate variability is actually the amount of time between your heartbeats. So if you have a pulse of 60, let's say, the amount of time between heartbeats varies. And the more it varies, the more recovered you are, the more in a parasympathetic state in your nervous system you are. I could go more into sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system, but maybe we'll save that for another time. There are devices now that measure HRV and keep track of it, and an average over a month, it can actually give you a score for your recovery. So the Whoop strap, an Oura ring, even the Garmin watch. I don't know if Apple Watch does it or not, but you can get a score for your recovery, and that's pretty important. You can use those scores. You want to get higher scores because you're trying to recover. It makes sense to have maybe a lower score if you are training hard, but make sure you leave time to get rested up afterwards. So as we finish up this week 3, start thinking ahead of how you're going to get organized to float through next week. Okay, next week needs to be easy, not stressful. Need to plan for extra sleep, and let yourself start over, because the following week is going to be the overload week. Okay, this week is week 3. It's the hardest week we've done so far. Overload week is, in fact, a little bit harder. Then we taper into the end of the training block. So don't forget to mark your boxes, though. If you do these rides and you're all zoned out because you're recovering too much, make sure you hit the boxes, because, as you know, it's important. The boxes in the portal, you need to be eligible for the swag giveaway. And as I posted earlier in the week, that Braxton Plummer and Sophie Monkhouse are our winners, and they are going to get some swag like me. Check out this new hat, you guys. Come on, this is awesome. Got a new hat, I got a new shirt. These guys are loving on me for doing these challenges. So hopefully it's going well for you all. We're going to chill next week, and can't wait to see how y'all are doing. So post up on the Facebook group, join the Strava group if you haven't done it already, and please stay in touch, and I will see you all next week.